Hey everybody, welcome back to our next episode on our podcast. This is Squad for Souls. Thanks for joining us. Okay, so Josh, you want to lead us off this time?
I do. So this episode, it's kind of leading with what we talked about last time. We're talking about how places will charge you to investigate and how these places are commercializing investigations. Well, this goes along the same lines as it's kind of based on trespassing. People trespassing onto private land or private places that have a famous connotation to it, and causing it worse for all the other paranormal groups out there, people investigating it because they don't respect the boundaries. And so we're just kind of sharing our thoughts on that tonight. Is known as the nunnery.
St. Anne's Retreat.
St. Anne's Retreat, which I've grown up calling it the nunnery. Famous paranormal spot. Ghost Adventures has been there. They have had a lot of problems with trespassers recently following their Facebook page. They've said they've wanted to open it up to people, but they've got to get the trespassing down, and they have cameras, and people have tried to do stuff there, which is ruining it for everyone else. And I think we all agree that it's not very cool to do that, and especially for them to even think about opening it up, because whoever owns it, they don't have to open up to the public to let people go and investigate it. Mm-hmm. But they're willing to do that, and it's like how a couple bad eggs ruin it for the rest of everybody, and they're kind of doing that for everyone right now. And so, yeah.
And I think it's important kind of to see the perspective of the people who, or why they're so tempted to trespass, Because the nunnery or St. Anne's Retreat has been, I've known about it since I was a little kid.
Yeah, for sure.
And you hear about that growing up in the area and knowing about it's like this local legend where, ghosts are and these crazy things happen and people have... when we were in school, middle school on up through high school, you'd hear about people going over in groups. And they're like, oh, I want to do that next. That was awesome. They got scared. That was cool. Let's go do that next. We never got around to it, but we've known people who have gone.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can see the appeal there, and I can see why you'd want to go, because people have been doing it for forever, But it is kind of a, trespassing, and especially when they've come out publicly time and time again and said, please don't do that, But again, it's hard to get places to investigate legitimately, because people are ones that there may be skeptics, or they don't know you. It's hard to prove that you're trustworthy, that you're not just a group of kids looking to vandalize or goof around, It's like, no, we take this seriously, and we try to be professional about it. And we've had a struggle getting permission to go places. I'm sure we could try a little harder, to do so. And there's probably some, more open access, public type of places that we could try. But, the big ones, like the St. Anne's Retreat or the train station, or, really locals, Crystal Hot Springs for us is a big one. And, we've reached out to these places, they're just not trustworthy. I think there's that fear of inviting trespassers and inviting some, vandalism type of activity or behaviors by doing so. So, I don't know, it's hard to kind of see both sides and put yourself in an owner's shoes too.
It's not like a bunch of kids trying to destroy crops or something, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But going back to what we talked about before, if I put myself in the owner's shoes, on the charging people to go in, I'd be like, yeah, sure, that's a quick, easy, $100.
Right. Yeah, I'd probably do it if I owned a place that was
high profile.
And I don't know, maybe that's the best way to go about it.
And of course, going back to our last, when we were talking about ghost hunting shows, maybe they do pay to go there.
Yeah, I bet they do. I bet like Ghost Adventures.
Haven't researched it, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess my opinion now, like we said, we haven't researched this, but I think now Ghost Adventures and like ghost hunters are like so like big time, I would assume they probably aren't paying anymore to go.
Just the publicity.
The publicity
looking for publicity. Well, they allow these big time guys to come in, and then all these small time people are like, yeah, let's go there, and then okay, now we'll charge you to come do it, investigate where Zach Bagans saw a ghost, or whatever. Mm-hmm. So.
But also, there's companies, so like TAPS. Those are the people that do ghost hunters.
Mm-hmm.
Their thing is, or was, my mind's back to 2008 when I would watch it a lot.
Yeah.
They would knock on the door of the people's houses or wherever they were going. They'd say, "Hey, we're TAPS. We're here to help." They would advertise that this is a free service they do.
Mm-hmm.
Just the hobby for all of them, a passion, and yeah.
Yeah.
So it would be, I don't know. I don't know what I'm getting at. Don't.
Is it maybe that? Well, no, maybe that's a good thing a good point to bring up. That maybe you start out that way,
Cut
and that will
brain fart out.
lead into more. Maybe trying to help someone with they feel like they're experiencing haunting. Helping them realize what it actually is, or debunk it, or making them at peace with it. I think it's kind of one way you can go around. The whole paranormal investigating thing is there's that side to it. You're trying to help someone, but I don't know. I feel like it's rare to find in need of a house cleansing or whatever.
And that's what they would do on that show.
Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting. I guess it's it's hard to get into. So what we're trying to say is it's hard to get into these big places that people want to see, and you want to go there because so much has happened, or you've heard of so much happening. And again, I'm sure a lot of it's exaggerated and whatnot, but you want to see for yourself. There's an appeal there. It's exciting. But yeah, a lot of it's privately owned, and it's just not a possibility, or it's a possibility if you want to, pay a lot of money. And then I don't know. We've never done it, so I don't know what the quality of. It would suck to pay $100 for an hour or two, and then nothing happens, or you're spending that time setting up your equipment, and you're rushed, and I don't know how that experience works, but.
First of all, and also an hour to get a really good ghost hunt in, as we know, an hour just.
It goes by like that.
Yeah, it isn't a lot of time.
No.
Mm-hmm. Because sometimes there's gaps in ghost hunting,
mm-hmm.
where nothing happens.
Yeah. I feel like in our experience, it's like a hit, like a couple hits in a row of something, and then it's just dead. I think we've talked about that kind of before, about spirit energy and how, I feel like they get a build-up of it and can use it and express it, and then it kind of like takes them a little to recharge, so to speak, or something,
I agree.
But what would make them recharge? What are some things that are said, done, times of the day? What would make them recharge at specific times?
I've read before, I can't remember where, that there's like no correlation between like ghost encounters during the day and encounters at night. Like there's no correlation. Like you just see most of the stuff done at night, but a lot of stuff happens during the day. I think what brought it up is like you notice like when Zach Bagans and his crew interview people, it's always during the day, and they're like, oh yeah, I was just working, and they're usually working during the day and something happens. And so I don't know, I wonder where the correlation of like it's happening during the day instead of the night, even though they still get stuff at night.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you don't know, and like stuff that pops it out or something, or like brings it out, it's kind of, I would guess, this is just my guess, is that maybe a clothing article. Say you're somewhere, Civil War battlefield, and nothing's really happening, you bring out like a Civil War jacket or something that has the energy attached to it. Can something like be manifested through that?
Yeah, I think it's a possibility for sure.
And I know the reason that most people do it at night. Well, okay, so So the reason most people do it at night casually is because that's part of the adrenaline rush.
Yeah,
It's dark,
yeah.
you know. But the reason these ghost hunting shows are done at night is because of interference with light.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Is, you know,
Yeah.
like what you would get in the day.
Yeah, that's true.
That is true.
Oh, and I didn't think some of the places are probably like tourist destinations,
Mhm.
so they're not gonna like waste a
Busy
day
during
of
the
their
day.
money and say,
Yeah.
"All right, you can do it at night."
Well, and people are more active during the day. You might catch a neighbor, building something in his garage, or that might interfere with the investigation too.
Now, here's something interesting that I've thought about doing investigations at night. Pitch black. No, that's not even a flashlight. And supposedly, and I'm going by our experiences with ghost hunting, and then even watching shows like Ghost Adventures, bringing them up again. It's pitch black. You're talking to a spirit, and they supposedly can see you. Say that, do spirits have a sense of night vision, or does night and day, is that just not a factor to a spirit?
Well, that's a good.
So why would there be activity at night if they can't see?
If it's spirits of people,
Yeah.
you'd think they'd be.
See, I've heard. I don't know where I've heard this, but I've heard time is a physical thing. So as soon as you're a spirit, there's no such thing as time, because it's just a physical manifestation. So
Yeah, but you'd still see the world. You'd still see the night and day.
that's true.
Or
They might not grow tired or need rest.
Not
Like,
needing
no,
rest.
no. They
I mean,
they
I guess
wouldn't.
we've talked about them needing to draw off different energy. But
Yeah.
maybe that's just to be able to have the ability to, communicate with us here. But they're not like, time to go to sleep. You don't want to re-energize.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know when I was at that house, they had a lot of activity that I don't know if it really seemed to matter. I had things happen at night and I had things happen during the day. I noticed them more during the day because, I'm more awake, not sleeping, but certainly had things happen in the night too. Yeah, that's a good question. It's how do they perceive their world around them and how we fit into that too.
But also, I mean, is there something? Guess going back to what recharges that energy. Is there certain times of the day and night that can make a spirit manifest? For example, there's something called the witching hour, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Have you guys heard about this?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Of course you have. Everyone's heard about it. Stuff like this. Let's see. I'm just looking up stuff on the witching hour.
See, and what I've heard on that,
what it is.
and you're looking it up, but what I've heard on that is the witching hour why it's 3 o'clock is because how the things come in threes, and it's supposedly like the dark side, devil and his followers are mocking the Godhead as the three. They mock the Godhead in threes.
Trinity.
Yeah.
As other people know.
So, that's what I've heard anyways. I'm not sure what you're reading, but yeah, that's what I've always heard anyways.
First off, who would want to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning?
Not me.
It's the witching hour. Let's see what's going on.
Got my alarm set for 3.
Oh boy, it's 3 a.m.
3 a.m.
If ghosts do sleep, they are up early.
Yeah, now I'm really thinking about are ghosts needing like to save their energy and stuff like that? Like how they rest, or does it just like become stronger at sometimes?
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say I feel like they can pull off of the energy we're putting out too. And I think that when we said earlier, in an earlier episode of how like when you're maybe a little more tense going into an investigation, or that might like prime you into thinking something's going to happen, but I think that can also be some truth to that, as in maybe they can sense that, that emotion, that stronger emotion from you, and that can, they can use that to make some kind of manifestation too.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, with that, is there something that we can do before investigations to charge ourselves that would make a ghost
More likely to
pull off our energy?
Yeah.
Kind of like what we did when we played football, getting pumped up, listen to rock and roll,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. Go.
No, I think that's something that could be,
Maybe.
researched by us, something different things you could try to do. I don't
Maybe
know.
like doing research on the area, seeing, say you go to like a ghost town and you find, like, you see pictures of the headstones and you write a guy's name's like John Milton or something, so you look up John Milton in whatever town and you find out all this information on John Milton's family from the ghost town, and then when you get there you can be like, John Milton, like call out their names, or like, you were born in 1835
To like familiarize yourself with the area
Yeah.
and what was went on during the time.
You'd think
that you're
you'd
trying to-
have some sort of, that would build up
Pinpoint.
some sort of energy,
Yeah.
I don't know, energy barrier, I don't know, equalizer. I don't know.
No one knows,
I'm not a doctor anymore.
anymore.
Not since the accident, anyways.
Yeah, that's interesting stuff, for sure.
Well, that's about it
That's about it for that one.
this week. Anyone have any final thoughts, feelings, fuzzy feelings you need to share with the group?
Rock and roll.
See ya.